Now, I haven't got a clue about football, but I do know that that's Alan Shearer, Geordie hero. Correct pronunciation is Shearer, which is a cry that rang across Tyneside for years. Now, this fella round here, I am told, is Kenny Dalglish. The name is familiar, but if I met him in the street, I wouldn't know who he was. Round this side is a chap who, I'm reliably informed, used to sell Renault cars, so that's presumably where he made his money. And around here, well, absolutely no clue whatsoever. I don't know who he is. But what's fascinating about these images is they're not photographs. They are photorealistic airbrush paintings by an artist who works in a shed in Worcestershire who no one's heard of, the UK's premier airbrush artist, Piers Dowell, who picks it up now in his own words.
Yeah, and his famous faces, you've got to get them right. And obviously it's not very easy on a compound curved surface with bloody wrinkles in it, but...
No, I mean, if it was just a flat bit of paper, anybody could do it, but I see how, it might have thrown a few.
Yeah, you wouldn't want to kick that ball, though, because it's solid resin.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, can I touch it?
Yeah.
Oh, right, okay. Is it actually a ball that's full of resin, or is it a...
No, so what we did...
It's a lump of resin that looks like a ball.
We took a latex mould off an existing football and then cast one in resin, because it's stable then.
Yeah.
And it won't creep about over time.
You don't have to blow it up. Have you never thought of going to the football clubs and saying, how would you like one of these as a presentation piece?
And I did. And I remember I got to Aston Villa the one time, and the guy I was supposed to meet never even bothered showing up. And the girl that did show up practically threw me out. So you think, yeah, I gave up football when I was about 7 when I got kicked in the shins and thought it was a silly idea. So I took up motocross. It's much safer. It was a sort of stillborn project for a company we were working with for memorabilia. And then they realised they got to get, if they wanted everyone to sign it, I think there's, I don't know, probably 40 different names on there. You've got to get to 40 different people, which of course is a logistical.
Bit of a logistical, yeah.
You'd be a year and a day travelling around, So, yeah, it ended up as a showpiece, and it is what it is.
It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah. Well, it's something to be proud of and, show your grandkids and all that.
Absolutely. Well, I'm glad you like that piece. And you're not going, throw it together in 10 minutes. It's just,
No, it definitely wasn't 10 minutes.
No.
I can't actually recall the hours on it. It's probably more than the guitar, but certainly not as much as the moon landing.
I'll just video that in case anyone forgets who did that.
Yeah, you've never heard of that bloke in Worcestershire.
Never heard of that bloke in Worcestershire. What a bugger of a place to find as well.
I've got one other thing you can have a look at if you want.
So we've got a huge sheet of aluminium.
Yeah.
Which is representative of the side of an aircraft.
Indeed.
With an Austin Allegro painted on it.
Yeah, the Austin Allegro, perhaps the depth of British automotive engineering and emblematic of everything that went wrong, which is why I've depicted it.
On the side of a...
So the idea is that I've replicated the side of a sort of Spitfire, if you like, and then you can argue that, with the images that I'm working on the piece, is this what the famous few fought for? So the images on here are, this one obviously isn't complete yet, but it will actually be an image of Peter Cook and Dudley Moore from the film Monte Carlo or Bust, because they play a couple of imperial toffs, thinking the world owes them a living. And I think as a nation we got very full of ourselves and sat on our laurels. And the upshot was that we became very complacent. And a good example of our complacency, we led the automotive industry in the world, and then somewhere along the line it fell to the depths of the Austin Allegro. So I thought I'd paint an image of the Austin Allegro. So, but in between, this is actually an image that I've used as reference. Obviously, it's an airbrushed image, but it's actually from the film I'm Alright Jack with Peter Sellers, and actually a family friend of ours, Ian Carmichael. My grandmother knew him because they all were involved in troop entertainment in the war. And the film's about the sort of interplay between the upper classes in management and the working classes and the sort of left-wing element, and how the unions effectively paralysed everyone. But they all had their part to play, and they crossed to bear. So yeah, the upshot is we ended up in this malaise where we made absolute shite. Depicted in the Austin All Aggro, and then instead of sort of rectifying the country, I suppose, we all just got fed up and moved abroad. So this image here is actually one that's in progress. So you can see, the underpainting underneath it for my structure, and I've got to sort of noodle my way through it with lots of different shades of grey. That's actually an image I took on holiday in Tenerife, so I've just edited it a little bit and I'll work on from that. And obviously there's a little bit of plagiarism here because these photographs are, elements of other people's work. But
Except it's not a photograph.
Except it's not a photograph, obviously.
You've got to keep making that point.
Yeah, I've painted it. So, black and white's easier than colour. But again, I've got to get Peter Sellers to look like Peter Sellers. The faces have got to be right. And you've got to recognise the front of an Austin All Aggro.
Which I did.
So, in terms of hours, as an example, this is about 170 hours, I think 172, to paint this image. And aside from its sort of part in the story this whole piece is trying to tell, it's also an homage to the guy that, for me, started it all, which he's worth a Google search. It's a guy called John Salt, and he is a member of the founding group of photorealist artists who started in the 1960s. And he was the only member of that group that was British, but he established his career in the US and then moved back to the UK in his later years. And as it turned out, he only lived about 20 miles up the road from me. So I think in about year 2000, I invited myself round. And again,
As you do.
Well, funny enough, via a contact in New York, a gallery in New York, and said, "Oh, well, John lives locally." So I invited myself round. And again, you say you should never meet your heroes, but he was a lovely, humble man. And the work he was producing with incredibly rudimentary equipment was quite astounding. But his main subject matter was derelict cars. So that's a kind of homage to him. Sadly, he's passed away now, but he had a great career and is very, very well respected within sort of photorealist circles.
But the thing is, you could have painted a derelict car without painting a shrubbery.
Yeah, actually, the shrubbery.
The shrubbery's fantastic, but it would have saved a lot of work.
You said that because that's the most difficult part.
Yeah, well,
because nature is random, and the human has this habit of rationalising everything and making everything equally spaced. Etc., etc. And when you do nature, it's all random. And again, you have to give even the most mundane aspects of the painting respect and render it like it's the most important part. Because if you don't, even the untrained eye will see it straight away.
Yeah, I was looking at the shadow before I looked at the shrubbery.
Yeah.
I looked at the shadows down the side.
Yeah.
And then I looked at the shrubbery that's caused it. So I kind of looked at that the opposite way around.
Because if you look at this in isolation, I've got progress photos because I'm right-handed, I start top left and end up bottom right. It starts up here, and you look at that close up, it's nonsense. You don't go, oh, that's a leaf. Okay, it's green, but it's not a leaf. It's nonsense.
I'm stood, 2.5 feet away, and it's,
I'll just stab myself in
You've stabbed yourself with a sharp aluminium. I can teach you how not to do that.
Yeah.
So you didn't have to paint a brake caliper hanging on the end of a pipe.
It's all got to be in there, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just...
I can't recall editing much out of that.
Oh, so entitled, the spoils of an age, our forefathers toiling to turn a new page, inexorable progress, our arrogant ways, those who went before us bought us better days. Cracks we left wide, our history progressed further